You want? I'm here for questions.
Questions?
Yes.
All right, perfect. No discussion items, so after the agenda. Strategic initiatives program grants, so Eric connected us for a request for letters of support for the Brighton, Snake River, and 9th Street constructions. So I have the proposals, the grant proposals, overview, and then the letters of support, which they not get organized very well, but they're in there. Which I did like, the draft seemed easy, so.
So we can start talking now?
Absolutely.
The plan is to widen Snake River Avenue to 5 lanes.
I think that was a typo, because it's only 3 lanes for Snake River Avenue, right? On the letter of support, it says 5 lanes.
We can just change it to the construction of Snake River,
Oh.
because the application itself has all the details.
And that's what I'm asking, what are those details?
Uh,
How many
I
lanes?
think she provided you the application
I
as
did.
well. So the 3 of them together I've been working on feverishly, so I can't really give you specifics on what's happening with that construction.
And I think I read the Snake River one is just gonna be a 3-lane from Southway to just past 11. And it's going to include ADA ramps, sidewalks, additional loading pad or something like that. Improved throughways for 11th. I don't know if anybody's tried to turn left on 11th onto Snake River, but that's a disaster.
Yeah, you wait.
You wait for a long time.
Why?
There's big bushes at the base of 11th, and the traffic oncoming is usually
Just
quite a
lot of
bit.
traffic, yeah.
And so you end up having to wait to be able to get in to turn left.
Some cars are nice and will actually stop and let like 5 to 6 cars go depending. But few and far between. I use that intersection more than
I come off the interstate bridge and because I have them closed, I haven't traveled on Snake River Avenue for weeks and weeks.
I do.
Yeah, you're right, I found where it says 3 lanes.
So there's 3 different projects.
These projects have been on the construction list for quite some time. They've been on the federal funding list for quite some time. Brighton specifically won't be funded until 2053. So this funding, yeah, this is
Can't wait.
additional funding that has come about that the city has decided if we apply for this grant funding, then we can pull it off the federal funding listing and get some other projects moving along. So that's the idea.
And that one's specifically the Brighton.
All 3 of these projects are on the federal funding list and yeah. But specific to Brighton is not planned until 2053 or something, so.
Yeah, it looks like the Snake River one was, the meeting was held in 2008.
Yeah,
Showing it for 30 years.
it takes quite a while to get that federal funding, so if we can get state funding, we're on a good roll.
Yeah, where did he come in? Well, not entirely, but hard support.
A question about the 9th Street project. This is for my own education. And that grade has been an ever-present source of trouble for the city. And it talks about rebuilding retaining walls, and I'm not exactly sure which ones. But
There are photos.
So we all know that if you own property, the cost to install a sidewalk is the property owners. If you own property that needs a retaining wall like that, is the retaining wall a cost of the property, adjacent property owner or of the city?
You know, that's too technical for me.
Hey, sorry. Oh, that's right, I'm sorry, I was thinking you were from Public Works.
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
Yes, and we do get the money. There is a study that was done that I can send to you if you would like.
Well, no, I mean, they have a picture, since the chairwoman directed us to the pictures, that's showing the big white retaining wall that is adjacent to a private home. And that was the nature of my question, was, are we paying for something that property owners would normally have to pay for?
It isn't adjacent to a home. It's on the downhill side of the road.
Oh, that, well, I don't consider that a retaining wall. I was
That's
talking-
where they've got this beginning proposal.
Yeah, they're gonna retain the street itself.
Yeah.
So my uneducated
I see, you're right,
answer-
you're right. So it's holding back the street, not the retaining wall holding back the hillside. Of course, we all know that once this is done, then the mudslides are gonna go on the hillside part of the street. Because that's how things work around here. No, that definitely needs to be done before the street falls into the ravine. Thank you, Mike.
I didn't know we needed our readers today.
I just went to a property closing yesterday, and the title company provides free reading classes.
Oh, I know, I
As a
just bought a
giveaway.
house.
I mean, just like other places do pins, yeah, we have reading classes in 3 different strengths, and you can take them with you. Can you believe it?
Yeah, because that's where my reading glasses are from.
There you go. The amount of small print you have to read.
And that's the letter that we mocked up.
So this is what Linda had mocked up for us, so that, for each
Oh, each proposal was
for each
different.
proposal, so they're a little bit different, just with.
Yeah, I
specific-
noticed, yeah.
I did not, I handed them to you, and they're gonna be different, so just be aware.
Yeah, they have like a,
Yeah.
Mhm. Did I not put any on?
You did, I handed them down there thinking that they were extra copies.
Oh.
So,
Okay. I do like that the specifically does address the ADA issues. I know, UI has quite a few participants that live on or right off of Dryden, so adding some sidewalks there would be really beneficial for quite a few people.
I don't really have any questions on my end. I don't know if you guys, I'm comfortable moving that we accept these and go ahead and submit these letters as a committee or commission.
Do we have a second?
I'll
Do
second.
you have more discussion you want to?
I just have one question. On this, the Snake River and the Brighton letters, there is the mention that it appears is just an incorrect typo about the 5-lane typo. So I'm assuming that would be corrected prior to submitting.
No,
Yes.
Brighton would be 5-lane.
Brighton is
Right,
5,
it's
Snake is
just
3.
the Snake River one. It's a mistake.
Okay, so that one's, so just the Snake River is the one that's incorrect, because it's, I don't know how they count that, but one in each direction and a turning, so is that
3.
a 3?
Yes.
Okay, but that would be corrected in the letter, obviously, before submitting the letter. Okay, and then I don't have any problem with the letter. Thank you.
I have the same question I always has Eric looked these over?
Yes, Eric's the one who, I believe he said that he was going to personally
Yes.
do letter of support
Okay.
for these, so, very much so.
Yeah, in his email that he wasn't gonna be here today, he said he'd be writing his own personal letters of support.
Yeah. That's always my question too.
I have a strange question about ADA, and I'm sure that Eric would probably know the answer to it, but he's not here. Hadn't thought about it before, except with the 9th Street grade issue. So the ADA has standards on slope. Lord knows we know about that when it comes to wheelchair ramps. But slopes that are appropriate for a wheelchair. If the slope on a street going down a hill is greater than that, is there some kind of an exemption where the sidewalk can just follow the slope of the street? Or some really elaborate sidewalk has to be provided that meets the ADA slope with switchbacks and all kinds of things? Maybe you know. the
Didn't we
answer
talk
to
about
that.
this with the stairs? Remember, did you tour, when they did the transitional plan, did you tour the stairs up to Pioneer Park?
Mm-hmm, they've talked about this.
Yeah, so they can't just rebuild the stairs, they have to do a ramp,
With the stairs, next to the stairs?
or next, like, as the walkway, because of the slope.
Right.
I think that's what
Give
part of the discussion
Stairs,
was.
you won't just have a ramp, you
Mhm.
switch back.
You have to switch back.
That's what they're gonna do.
No, that was just part of the discussion, is that when we were looking at those stairs,
So you think the sidewalk does have to meet that standard?
I don't know. Yeah, I'm not entirely sure, but I remember that being a point of conversation because you can't just build a slope up because nobody would be able to access it through the
Because if
wheelchair.
it does, and I haven't read this whole narrative here, does the sidewalk along 9th Street grade meet the slope standard?
You know,
There is an entire section on slope. Page 6.
It says scope.
Well, I told you I don't have my reading glasses. That does not make it in the minutes. Meeting adjourned. Meeting adjourned by
We
Amy.
haven't voted on
Until
them.
she
We
can
haven't
get
voted on them.
her glasses.
We haven't voted on the motion.
If you tell Sean about
That's the
this,
funniest thing I've heard all month.
done.
Just everyone on YouTube can see
It's
this.
go.
Fine.
Sure. Yeah, well, it was just a question because
Google it.
if that sidewalk doesn't, and you're saying yours.
I'd be willing to bet that does not fit the
No.
the requirements, but there's not a lot you can do given the geography there.
There isn't. Yeah.
Well, there is a way to get from the downtown
There
area
are
to up to the
options.
bench. And, you gotta go almost clear down to 21st Street
Uh-huh.
to come out. But,
Yeah, 5th Street grade wouldn't qualify.
no, just
I won't even walk 50th Street
Yeah.
today.
Sounds scary.
the
About your day?
prospect is almost compliant, but I think it's still a little too steep.
You'd have to go almost to Southway to make that
Yeah,
happen.
yeah.
Mhm.
But there are ways to get in a wheelchair from the downtown plateau up to the Normal Hill Plateau, and, but, it's long, you gotta go a long ways out of your way. I've always thought we ought to put a funicular in, somewhere between Fifth and Prospect.
Well, as the Disability Commission, it is something we should probably always have in front of us,
Yeah.
is that connectivity
Right.
between the two lanes. But
Yeah.
years ago, beautiful downtown Lewiston had a proposal for an elevator
Well, they've tried.
from F Street to Pioneer Park kind of
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah.
And a glass elevator for safety reasons, and city people went berserk because they thought it was for tourism purposes or beautification program. I mean,
Yeah.
the idea that it'd be for people with disabilities
Accessibility.
never came up. And the idea was shelved, put in the back burner. Okay.
But I do believe these things need to be done. I think that
We can help get money. So these are letters of support.
if we had discussion after the motion and second, should we do that again?
Some grants.
She never voted. Oh, I'm not speaking yet.
If you need, I can go get some readers out of the car. My aging eyes.
I would amend the motion to say that the question needs to be asked about the access between the downtown and the Normal Hill and in a accessible pathway that's still up in the air.
So it would be something that, I mean, I think we could address, but like for the grant purpose, I think they're just looking for, but I think that would be something we should address with the city.
Well, and I think it was something that was talked about when we did the transition plan.
Uh-huh.
And the consultant came to Lewiston and
Right.
everybody was invited to tour different locations that
Right.
could need updates to. And one of them was the stairs over, just
Right.
down by Community Action that go up to Pioneer, because that's a thoroughway
Yeah.
up to Normal.
Well, I
Hill.
guess the question is the, proper source of funds for that, the city or this, federal grant, I don't know.
It might be that this grant has specific requirements and maybe the priorities on the list.
What do you mean by specific requirements?
Oh, I don't know, there's probably requirements of which you can use the money on, you can't just get the money and use it for anything, it has to be a specific project.
Yeah.
So I guess I don't know if that piece is in the transition plan or if there's a,
I thought it was.
yeah, I know we talked about it.
But I don't know how to move on.
Well, we have a motion to support the letters.
Okay.
To submit the letters of support.
Mark seconded it. If we don't need any further
Do you have any
discussion, we can vote.
discussion now? All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Any nays? All right, motion passes. Okay, thank you. I'll fill out and send those to you later today.
Okay. Thanks so much.
Thank you for your time.
Thanks, Melinda.
Thanks for letting me. All right, next we have the meeting minutes from June 8th and July 13th. I do not think that I read the July 13th.
I put some copies out there, so if you guys need to review them.
The June 8th, we were just going to have some corrections for typos, I believe, and then we were going to approve them, right?
Well, I missed putting June 8th minutes on the
Yeah.
last
They
agenda,
weren't on the last.
and so
agenda.
that's
That
why
was
we
the
brought
new
them.
one.
If you have edits, let us know, but that's why they're on this one.
Okay.
I was proud of myself to remember to put minutes on this one, otherwise we'd go through them.
June 8th and July 13th, right?
Yeah.
15th minutes capture your discussion about the Interlink?
Yes, pretty much. I mean, there's been some new developments since then. For its time period, yes, it does.
Do you have a motion to approve? We do a blanket approval of vote.
I'll make
I
a
think so.
motion to approve the minutes from June 8th and July 13th.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes.
And commission minutes go to the city council, right?
Mhm.
They can all read them if they care to.
I usually send them in chunks, just so you know, a couple months at a time.
Does anybody have ideas for a future agenda item? Something to address, like your elevator? I don't know.
I brought that up before, it's gotten shot down, so I'm sure it's.
The funicular.
Talk about it again, maybe third time's the charm.
Yeah,
you never know.
Throw it on there.
But yeah, I mean, you could rediscuss the Thoroughway from downtown to Normal Hill, and what options are available. Review the transitional plan.
I'd especially, oh, I'm sorry, I was still thinking about that. I'd especially want Eric present. So I see Eric tooling around sometimes in his electric wheelchair downtown. And I'm wondering how he gets here, or does he take Dial-A-Ride or the city bus to the community center, and that's how he gets on this level? Because I really don't know.
I usually see him come from this direction. So I guess I always
Do
assume.
you think he comes down 18th Street?
Yeah, I always
I
assumed
think he comes
can't-
down
Ninth.
Ninth.
That's what, I always assumed that,
Yeah.
but I don't know for
But he's got
sure.
an
Of
electric
course,
chair.
it's electric, yes, I
Yeah.
know.
Because I see him usually
Getting back
headed in
up
that
is the
direction.
difficulty.
I think, I think it's worthwhile spending some more time talking about it, given the fact that you've been talking about the future demographics of Lewiston and how those are going to be changing. At some point, we're going to need to rattle that cage enough that people are going to hear it.
Yeah.
You know, that's something that's definitely, since you presented that topic and addressed the aging of our population, I think it's something that we definitely need to be paying attention
It's been a million years since I traversed or even looked at that staircase east side of Pioneer Park. Does it have a handrail?
I don't think so.
to. In places, I believe it.
I don't
My
know.
kid made me walk it. There's
Yeah.
one place that
Who
you
made
can
you
stop
walk
my
it?
child. I think there's one
At the very
spot for a
end?
bench,
Oh, okay.
and then I think, yeah, maybe at the end.
There's a couple of places
I mean, none of the staircases at one time had handrails, but when they were redone, like the First Avenue steps, the giant wide steps, you know,
Yeah.
originally had no handrails except on either end. And when they rebuilt them, the city was told they had to put that there's then 2 handrails in the middle, you know, and that was for safety purposes. And I wondered about all the other staircases, because, you know, you may not be in a wheelchair, but if you're an older person, going up or down stairs with no handrails, right?
Or it's icy.
All of you need is one person to slip and roll down those stairs, and the city would have a big lawsuit.
Well, and I remember us talking about those staircases in particular because not only do you access Normal Hill, but then the hospital, so medical care
Right.
is right there too, so.
So that's a future agenda.
Potential item.
And it's not just into the downtown core, but around the corner, I'm wondering about some kind of pedestrian access from Prospect down to Snake River Avenue and the waterfront there. I don't know. I mean, it's too bad. It's way too late in the game, but this Snake River Avenue reconstruction, to have it include a project like that.
Well, there
I
is.
feel there is a switchback at the end of it.
Yeah, by the boat ramp.
Yeah.
By the,
Oh,
By
yes,
the-
well, it's a trail, and it definitely doesn't have a handrail. It's like more
they built
for,
a pathway.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's an ADA ramp. It's,
Yeah.
it cuts back. It used to be just little,
Right.
It used to
path.
be a path, yeah,
like a
but then
little
they,
trail. But yeah, they
I haven't been
have
on it.
they have a
so I
light
don't-
for people crossing the street and stuff.
That's new.
Yeah, I do remember.
By the roundabout, sort of.
Yeah, and they have a
close.
retaining wall, so it's
A
nice.
bit, yeah, right by the
Yeah.
program.
Oh, well, maybe the retaining wall. I forgot about that, because I haven't traversed it. Maybe it has a handrail built into it.
I don't think it has a
I don't know if it has a
handrail.
hand-
Because I always just assumed that was more of a bicycle thing, a bike path.
I don't
But
know that
you're
it has a
right.
handrail.
Well, anyway, it's just, I mean, I'm glad you brought it up. I thought,
Mhm.
you know, that's a good point, just about the aged people. We're quick to always think people in wheelchairs,
Mhm.
but it's not going to always be that.
Right.
Enough about that.
Any other suggestions?
Are there any city departments just dying to present to us?
Well, Katie's coming next week. Next week.
Oh, yeah, Katie's coming next month to talk about the comprehensive plan.
Phase 2, right?
Yeah,
Hey, Michael Bus?
Hollingshead,
Hollingshead, yeah, sorry.
yeah. She's our assistant planner, city's assistant planner. She's working on the comprehensive plan. So I think she came once to talk about phase 1, and this would be phase 2. So she asked to be on the agenda.
Yeah, for those of you who don't know, I'm the liaison to that. A lot of committees have liaisons to that. Planning and zoning, Parks and Rec, Cemetery.
I get
That's
invites,
part-
but I haven't been.
That's part of Parks and Rec. There's one other commission that does, Planning and Zoning, Parks and Rec, us. Oh, Historic Preservation. They have a,
And there's a new survey. for the
Yes, the
comprehensive
second
plan, so she'll
survey.
probably want to talk about that too.
Are there any other departments you guys would want to hear from?
We're looking at the, what minutes, right? The June minutes. Eric was talking about a meeting with Louis, Minnesota and tribal transportation agencies, including Coast. You know, it's hard to arrange a meeting with even one of them.
Yeah.
Try to convene all four
Well, you guys have had Suzanne.
simultaneously, one time, date, place.
Well, do you think if you had Suzanne come and talk about how, because wasn't Eric's conversation about how they all can work together or how they
I know.
collaborate? And so
But
would
Suzanne-
Suzanne be able to talk about that?
It's not been that long ago that she was here.
No, she's been here a couple times.
But the other three entities don't have to respond to our summons. Interlink did not get its grant, by the way. We had applied for a Washington State Rural Transportation Grant to do convening and collaboration. And they turned us down. And I demanded a list of who were the successful grantees. Had requested 3 times, but I finally got it. Surprise, surprise, they're all in Western Washington. That hotbed of rural need.
Right.
Not a single one in Eastern Washington. Unbelievable.
Short meeting. You guys are nuts.
You know, at some time in the future, I'm adding another suggestion. I don't know if others would be interested. Another board that I sit on is the county's public guardianship, Board of Community Guardians. So by definition, everyone that the county accepts as needing a public guardian and becoming a public ward is disabled. In one way or another, they cannot manage their own affairs. And the person who oversees that may want to talk about that. I mean, granted, it's a county thing, but you'd be surprised at the cases that come in front of us.
They gave me
You'd be
a little bit
surprised,
something about
you'd be
that.
surprised about a lot of things, actually.
But you mean to have Tekla come and speak?
Oh, you know Tekla?
I
She's-
think that would be worthwhile.
Yeah.
Is that Tekla Truffle?
Yeah, she's the chairperson for Nez Perce County Public Community.
And is paid too, I mean,
Yeah, I met with
somebody's
her
gotta do-
Tuesday.
somebody's gotta do the work. But among other things, when I said you'd be surprised, I mean, our county carries a heavier caseload than any other county in Idaho. We're probably accepting too many people. But on the other hand, any other county or across the river, all they have to do is get their person checked into St. Joe's Hospital, especially maybe 5th floor, you know, the behavioral thing, and then they apply to Nez Perce County
I
to
think,
take over guardianship. And it's like, really? Really? Being in St. Joe's Hospital makes you a resident of Nez Perce County?
I definitely think that having Tekla come and speak about the county board and how it impacts, you know, city of Lewiston and residents would be a new direction, you know, for this advisory commission, and one that, I mean, I do a lot of guardianship work personally and professionally, and
I
I
don't know.
definitely think it would be interesting and
Well, I've always said.
definitely an area.
And I've been on this board commission since it started, and, which was like 2 or 3 city councils ago. And when I was interviewed for it, I talked about my interest in Alzheimer's disease, people with Alzheimer's. Because there's definitely the impression that, oh, disability advisory, that's people who are physically disabled. And there's so many other forms of disability than just that. Well, one could say that people who can't care for themselves and have to have a public guardian because they don't have family members are they're at the apex of the pyramid of disabled people. They just, you know.
I think it would
the
be very
government
interesting. I
has
think it'd
to
be very
step in.
interesting.
And I don't know if there would ever be even a modest amount of city money in the city budget to help support that position and the infrastructure. I mean, we only learned something a few months ago that was just shocking, which is while state law does govern this and how you do it and how, you know, someone is named a ward and then the paperwork and the annual reports and all that stuff, state law doesn't require counties to actually have such a board. And you could actually, and one of the county commissioners even talked about it, this is getting a lot, maybe we should just do away with the board and not have public guardians. Where would that leave our community? On everyone from people in care facilities who can't make any decisions anymore, to people living in their cars because they're mentally ill and they don't know what to do. And the lack of family members or social supports. It's not a good thing. And by definition, they're low income, no assets. Because if they have assets, then you can arrange for private guardianships, which that does exist locally, but not nearly as many as we should and could have. But anyway, just a topic. But we did have a quorum for our meeting yesterday, so it got canceled. Tekla.
That's what she said.
Any other
And you guys
commissioner?
met Tekla, I mean, right?
Yeah, we can, our kids go to daycare together.
Yeah.
Tekla's an attorney, by the way, so she likes handling all
I do
of
too.
this
She
in
knows
addition
all.
to her law practice, yeah.
Do you want us to reach out to her?
Just tell her.
Yeah, I think
what
it'd
our
be very
meeting-
interesting.
Our meetings are second Thursday, right? Just see if it's on her calendar any
Okay.
upcoming day. Tell her I suggested it. I don't know what that'll.
Any other commissioner comments? Staff liaison comments? Come on,
No, yeah.
all would like to adjourn.
I move we adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
I
I might not
ask if
be
anybody's
late for instance.